Hey guys, welcome back to Sax Tuition on YouTube. My name's Jeremy, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about starting the saxophone as an adult. Perhaps you finished school 2 years ago, perhaps you finished it 50 years ago. Whatever's the case, this is the video for you. So when I'm teaching adult saxophone students, I hear three main concerns come up over and over again. Now, the first one is quite a practical one, time constraints. So if you have a family and you're working a full-time job, I've got no doubt that you're probably thinking that, I don't know when I'm going to be able to practice, okay? There's only so many hours in a day, only so many days in a week. And that's a real concern because if you don't have any time to practice, then it's very hard to progress. The second concern is to do with not being able to keep up. Right? Often we hear about adults being slow learners and children obviously being much faster to pick up new concepts. And that can also lead us to believe that it's going to take us a very long time just to get the fundamentals right on the saxophone. And of course, if it takes you a long time to learn, you might lose interest and you might spend a lot of money along the way deciding if the sax is right for you. The third most common concern is the worry about lacking some kind of a fundamental knowledge, right? Like maybe something they teach in school about music theory that you just completely missed, something to do with that that's going to hold you back in some way or make it harder to catch up and start from the point where you want to. Now, you probably noticed I haven't actually offered any solutions to those problems yet. That's going to come a little bit later. But before we get to that, I want to talk about some real tangible benefits of learning the saxophone a little bit later in life. Now, we talked about time constraints being an issue, but what's also important is the quality of practice. And that comes in large part from maturity, right? As an adult, you would hope you're a little bit more mature than a grade school aged child. And so with that comes the ability to focus more on the material and be able to maximize the time that you actually do spend on the saxophone. Now, the second benefit of starting the saxophone as an adult is your physical size, right? So even if you're a smaller sized adult, you'll still be more than big enough to play the alto and the tenor saxophone. And with that additional size comes greater lung capacity, which means that you can hold your notes longer before breathing. The third benefit really looks at why you're starting the saxophone. It usually comes down to the love of learning an instrument. Wanting to learn the saxophone because you really love it makes a huge difference. Now, the fourth reason for studying the saxophone as an adult is it's great for the brain. Now, we've all been told that learning a new instrument or some kind of new skills, particularly when you get later in life, is a fantastic thing to do. It keeps your mind active, it keeps yourself fresh and feeling younger and all that sort of stuff. Now, I'm not a neuroscientist, but we've all seen the studies and it really is, based on everything we know, a great thing to do later in life. So now we get to opportunities. When you think about kids, there's almost limitless opportunities to join school bands and get into Eisteddfods and competitions and so on. But if you're an adult and you're just starting out, well, what is there? And the first thing I would say is to go to Google and type in whatever city or town you're in, then community bands. Now, chances are if you live in a major town or a city, there'll be at least one, possibly multiple community bands around where you live, which would be perfect for you if you've got about a year's worth of playing experience. Another fantastic opportunity that just about everyone has access to is playing with your friends and family. Now, I'm sure in your network somewhere you know at least one casual musician who plays something. And playing music allows you to connect with those people on a whole different level. If that's something that you have access to, you know, people in your circle that play instruments already, then that's a great opportunity for you as well. And lastly, there's nothing wrong with just playing the saxophone by yourself for yourself. That's a pleasure, I think, that is really understood by a lot of adults. It's something that they want to do for themselves. It doesn't necessarily have to always be to show off. If that sounds like you as well, then you will have no trouble being fulfilled playing the saxophone. Now, earlier in the video, we talked about some of the concerns that adults have with playing the saxophone. Now, as a saxophone teacher myself, I'd never ever downplay the importance of the one-on-one saxophone lesson. But this is also where I'd like to suggest an option for those of you wanting to learn the saxophone, but perhaps have one of those concerns as well. And that is the Sax Tuition Beginner Series. Now, the Beginner Series is a course I created for learning the saxophone from home, and I really created it to address those issues that adults have about learning the saxophone. So firstly, of course, we had time constraints. Now, with the Beginner Series, it's a complete package that you download to your computer. You can put it on any device that you have, iPad, tablet, whatever. And then from there, you can really learn when it suits you. The feeling of not keeping up that we talked about. Of course, having the lesson videos and an ebook and play along tracks allows you to pause and rewind, listen to things again, spend as long as you like on a lesson or a piece, and really just learn again when it suits you and how it suits you. And finally, when it comes to lacking the fundamental knowledge to play the saxophone, well, the Sax Tuition Beginner Series assumes absolutely no knowledge about the saxophone or music theory at all before starting. So if you're a complete beginner, then the Sax Tuition Beginner Series will work really, really well for you. So guys, thank you for watching the video and listening to my plug at the end. I've put a link in the description below to the Sax Tuition Beginner Series, and you can watch lesson 1 for free on YouTube. And once you've done that, you can go to the website, download a free sample of the book and the play along tracks that accompany that lesson and try it out for yourself. See if it works for you. Of course, if you've got any questions about learning the saxophone, then please put them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the content, then please like the video and subscribe to the Sax Tuition YouTube channel for more great free content. Well, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.